Good morning, my YouTube viewers. In this video, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about error handling techniques in Python. There's two basic techniques that you can use. One is to use the statements try, except, else, and finally blocks. And these constructs enable the programmer to handle exceptions and ensure the program continues running or exits cleanly. The second way that you can do error handling is with logging. Logging can be used as an alternative to the print function. Logging allows the programmer to set different levels of severity, such as debug, info, warning, error, and critical, thus allowing the programmer to control the granularity of the messages. The logger will filter the messages based on their importance, but the print function outputs everything indiscriminately. Okay, while the print function is simple and useful for quick debugging, logging provides a robust, scalable, and professional solution for managing output in Python applications. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go over to Google Colab and we're going to do some error handling in Google Colab. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to use the try except. So here is a short little script of code that says try result equals 10 divided by 0. And then so it says except 0 division error as E, says print error E. So you've got 10 divided by 0 and you've got a division by 0 error. So let's just say 10 divided by 2 and see what happens. So you don't get an error at 10 divided by 2, but you do get an error at 10 divided by 0. So you've got a 0 division error. And the next thing you can do is try catching specific exceptions. It says try with open data.txt as f, contact equals f read, except file not found error, print file not found. Well, I can tell you there is no data.txt in there. And there is no data.txt in there, so you're going to get a file not found error. But we run it and it says file not found. One thing that you could do is we'll just come over here really quickly. And we'll do the logging calculator. We'll go over the code in that in a little bit. So we've got the calculator.log file. So the calculator.log file is there. So the calculator.log file is there, so you don't get an error. But if we try like another one, like example.csv, then you're going to get a file not found error because the file's not there. Now we have try, except, else, and finally. So we say try, so we'll run it. Try says valid input, please enter a valid number. We'll say neg1. says result is -10, execution complete. So we'll try it again. We'll say A. It says invalid input. Please enter a valid number. So now we do 0. So we'll get a 0 division error. And it says division by 0 is not allowed. And then we'll try it one more time. We'll say 2. And it says execution complete. So there are some more examples of try, except, else, and finally. So now we've got some custom exceptions. So we have a custom exception. It says enter age. So nothing happens because you've entered the age. But we'll try a negative number. So you get an error because you cannot enter. Raise a validation error. It says age cannot be negative. So if age is less than 0, then you have a negative number. Then it raises an error. So now we have a custom exception that you can use. It says process data. If not, is instance data list, raise custom error. Data must be a list. Return x times 2 for x in data. So you've got a Pythonic list. It says try process data 1, 2, 3, 4. Then that's a set. So not a set, that's a tuple. So what's this doing? It's giving you a tuple, and it says data must be a list. But we'll try it as a list. And then it goes through if it's a list. We'll go back and make it a tuple just so it'll go into error. So this is a custom exception where it says data must be a list. So you got a custom error. So we've got an assertion. So we have an assertion error. Assert 2 plus 2 equals 4. And nothing happens. But if you say 2 plus 2 equals 5, then you get an assertion error. And it says math is broken. And now what we're going to do is we're going to do logging, because logging is another way that you can track your errors. And the thing about Google Colab is I did this code in my Python idle and it worked fine. But whenever I did the code in the Google Colab, it didn't work. And the reason why is because Google Colab has its own logging directory. And because it has its own logging directory, it wouldn't make the calculator.log file. And how you get around that is you come over here where it says force equals true. So you have to force it. You have to force Google Colab to actually make the program. So basically, we're going to import logging. The difference between logging and printing is logging creates a file. And when logging creates a file, then you can see everything it did. So what I'll do is I'll just call up here the logging. So you can see here, we've got our logging file. So we've got calculator, it's info, 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 and then you've got error, and then info, calculator, finish. So that's your logging file. So we configure our logging. So file name equals calculator.log. File mode equals A, it's append. Format is %ASC time, % level name, and % message. Level equals logging.debug, And you have to say force equals true, because if you don't say force equals true, it's not going to work in Google Colab. So we create our functions. We create a divide function, and then it gives you a division by 0 logging error. We create a multiply function, and we create a subtract function, and we create an additional function. And then you say login info calculator started. Says, this is what I put in here: input first number, input second number, and then you have the function. So add, subtract, multiply, divide, which will trigger a 0 by division error if you put 0 in there. And logging calculator has finished. So let's just do this, see what happens. So we'll say 10, and then we'll say 5. So it says logs have been saved to calculator.log. So you come over here to calculator.log, and so it says info added 10 plus 5, result is 15. Info subtract 5 from 10, result is 5. Info multiplied 10 put 5, result is 50. Divided 10 by 5, result is 20. Calculator finished. Let's try another one. Let's just say 10. Just see what happens. A. And we got an error because it says invalid literal for int with base A. So, so it has to be an integer. So let's just do 10 and 0 again to get here. Divide by 0 error. So it says log has been saved to the calculator. So what we'll do is we'll come over here, and then we'll go into calculator log again, and you can see. So it says calculator started, added 10 plus 0, result is 10. Subtract 0 from 10, result is 10. Multiplied 10 by 0, result is 0. Attempted division by 0, you got an error, and calculator finished. So this is just really easy logging exercise, just to show you how you can do logging. And what I'm going to do is, because we say force equals true, that has to be in there to get it to work. So come over here, I'm going to save it, because I had tried it on my idle, see if I could get it to work, because last night I couldn't get it to work on Google Colab, and I thought, well, I can't just give up, I have to try to figure it out. So I did actually, because I couldn't figure out what the problem was, I did actually go to Google Copilot, and Copilot did tell me that it's a bug in the system. So that was a good thing about Copilot, because I was sitting there for a couple of hours trying to figure this out, and I was thinking, well, why won't it work? Why won't it work? Because it did work on idle. But we'll run it. So it says enter first number is 10, enter second number is 0. And then so what we do is we come over here to File, and then you say, it says calculator is finished. But what we can do on this one, what we can do is we can say, So we can save it, and then we'll run it again. So this one will say 5, 0, and we've got a message that says calculator is finished. And then we go over to our files. So we've got calculator.log file here. Double click on it, and you can see that this calculator.log file tells you all the times that we have used the program. And the last time we calculated was started, add 5 to 0, result is 5, subtract 0 from 5, result is 5, multiply 5 by 0, result is 0, attempted division by 0, and then calculator finish. So that's a good, and so I've given you the same program in two different units. We did it in Google Colab, which we had to say in Google Colab, in order to get it to work in Google Colab, you have to say force equals true, because what that does is that actually forces Google Colab to create the file. And if you don't say force equals true, then Google Colab won't create the file. But on idle, you don't have to say force is true, but I decided to go ahead and put force is true in there anyway, just to make sure it's consistent between Google Colab and idle. So that completes this video. We talked about the different ways that you can do error checking. So try, except, else, and finally, or try, except, else, and finally are the, let's see what we've got here. Try, except, else, and finally are the two mainstays of error checking. But what they do is they just print a error. But if you want to be really professional, then you can try logging. You can try making a logging file that will tell you what's happened as well. So this completes the video. So the next video we'll be working on some more Python topics, and thank you very much for watching this video.